Hi everyone. Today Salesforce admin day 2. Let's see what are we going to learn today. We'll go through the previous session overview and we'll talk about the requirement. Yesterday we were discussing about the requirement, so we'll talk about that requirement again. And then we'll talk about how to create a users in Salesforce. Yesterday we have seen the navigation steps to create a user. We'll see again. And then how to create a single user, how to create a multiple users. And if we want to reset a password for user, how can we reset a password for user in Salesforce? And while resetting the password, whenever we are entering the password, what is the password policies that are available in Salesforce? Now, what is the freeze user? We will see the freeze user, how to delete a user. Is it possible or not? Then we'll have a quiz sessions, homework, and today's interview questions. Now, quickly, what did we learn yesterday? What did we discuss yesterday, class?
Administration.
Support admin development.
Support admin, development admin, and installing Jira.
User, how to create user.
Issue types in Jira.
Introduction about
Jira, how to log in Jira, and how to create a new
User
user in
license.
Jira.
User licenses, different user licenses.
Issue types in Jira.
Right. So we have seen the administration, support admin, development admin, Jira, Scrum, and then we have seen the licenses. What are the different licenses are available for the developer edition? These also we have seen. And also we have seen how to create a requirement in Jira. And when we create a requirement, so yesterday we created one requirement where the new user need to be added in the Salesforce. New user need to be added in the Salesforce. So this is the story which we have created yesterday. And right now the status of this story is in progress. In progress. Now let's see, continue the yesterday's session. Right. So then we'll go through the requirement. Yesterday we created a requirement in the Jira board. Subject is a add new user in Salesforce. Description is the following user we need to add in the Salesforce, and we have to provide a admin access to the users. So user first name is Leonia, and then user last name is Messi. User email. User email this is the one, and access admin access, and then we have a mobile number. Then we have a mobile number. Now, yesterday we have understood what is the user. User is nothing but whoever is logging into the Salesforce, right? With the credentials, that user is called as he is a user. User could be an employee within the company. User could be an internal team. User could be a manager, IT specialist. Whoever is logging into the Salesforce with the credentials, they call it as a user. They call it as user. Now this is clear. Now let me go to the Salesforce here. Click on a setup. In the setup, navigation steps are in the setup. Go to the home page. Here in the administration, we have a users tab. Just click on the users here. Now, when we click on a users, we can see the list of users that are there. Whatever the record that exists here, which is called as a user. Now, whenever I wanted to create a new user, we have to click on a new user button. We have to click on a new user button. When we click on a new user button, certain fields are mandatory. Certain fields are mandatory, like a first name, last name, first name, alias, email, username, nickname is mandatory. This we can enter. We are aware of it. Now here, the right side, we have a role, user license profile. Now, yesterday we have seen user license. We can see the different type of licenses that are available in company information. There are licenses which are available in company information. So we can select it here. Now, next thing today we are going to see, just understand. We will not go in depth of the role here because role is a separate topic again. Role and profile is a separate topic. At the very high level, what is the purpose of role, which I'll give you the clarity. I'll give you the clarity, but in depth of the role, in depth of the profile, we will see it later. We will see it later because it's a big subject of the profile, and also role is also involved into that, which is called as a security management. Right now, what is the role? Role is nothing but, now here, role is nothing but basically the role determines what user can see. What user can see in Salesforce. What user can see in Salesforce. That means here role is going to define what user can see, determines what user can see in Salesforce. That means if you look at the role, generic role is nothing but, in the companies like we have a developer, senior developer, right? Team lead, manager, senior manager. These are the levels which are available, right? These are the levels which are available. Now here, in the company, when you go for it, so in the company, you have developer, right? And then we have a senior developer. And then we have a team lead. And on above, we have a manager. And above, we have a senior manager. Senior manager. Now here, the direction of it is developer is talk to the senior developer. Now senior developer is report to the team lead. Now team lead is report to the manager. Manager is report to the senior manager, right? So this is the information. Basically here roles are determines what is the authority that he will have. Like a senior manager role, able to see the information of the manager or team lead or senior developer or developer. So this is the information they could see, right? Senior manager, team lead, right? Senior manager is able to view the details of the manager, team lead, senior developer. Now, senior developer is able to see only related to the developer's data. Senior developer cannot see the team lead's data, right? Similarly, manager can see the data related to that is created by the team lead or a senior developer or a developer. Whoever is reporting is there, they can see. That means manager can see the data that is created by the team lead or a data that is created by the senior developer or the data that is created by the developers. Data that is created by the developers. Now here, this role is going to specify what user can see the data. What user can see the data. What user can see the data. So basically role is nothing but what user can see. So role determines what user can see in Salesforce based on whether they are located in the role hierarchy. Hierarchy is nothing but the structure. Right now, which I have shown you the structure, the developer, senior developer, team lead, manager, senior manager, right? This is the hierarchy. So in the hierarchy, wherever they are placed in, based on that position, based on that role, they will be seeing the data which is related to the based on the role. So example for this, users at the top of the hierarchy. Users at the top of the hierarchy can see all the data owned by user. Owned by user. Users at the top of hierarchy. Users at the top of hierarchy means this is the hierarchy. At the top, who is there here? Top, we have a senior manager. The senior manager should be able to see the data related to the manager, team lead, senior developer, these all data they can see. These all data they can see. Now, whoever is placing the user at the top position or at top of the hierarchy can see all the data owned by users below them. That means whoever is below them are there, they can see the data. Now, users at the low level can see the data owned by the user. They cannot see the data owned by the other users above. For example, here I have a developer. Can developer able to see the data what is created by the senior developer, team lead, manager, senior manager?
No.
He cannot.
No.
He cannot see that. He cannot see the data. So that means this role is going to define that what user can see. What user can see in Salesforce. What user can see in Salesforce. Now that is the row. And the next one is a profile. What is a profile here? Now we know the role, we know the user license. Next one is a profile. What is the profile here? Profile determines. Now here profile determines what user can do. What user can do. Role is what user can see. Profile is what user can do in Salesforce. That means if I give some profile, if I assign a profile is going to define what this user can perform the actions in Salesforce. What user can perform the actions in Salesforce. So that means now here profile is nothing but profiles determines what user can do in Salesforce. Based on the profile only, users can perform it. Now that means profile is a set of permissions. Now what profile is going to do is it will assign a set of permissions or it will grant access to a user by providing the profile, by assigning the profile. What I am doing is I have 100 objects I have 100 objects. Now out of this 100 object, what user can do? That means what user can perform. Only 10 objects they can perform. Who is deciding this? Profile is deciding it. Only 10 objects that this person can perform. That means this user can do only related to the 10 objects. Now who is doing it is decided by the profile. Profile is determines what user can do in Salesforce. When I say can do is nothing but profile contains set of permissions on the object level, field level, or a tab level, or a record level, right? So basically object, fields, tabs is the one it is going to provide the access. So profile is going to provide the access for the object, field, tab. Now we will see in detail what is that later. Now the next one is each user can have only one profile. Each user can have only one profile. Now here I have a user. User can be associated with only one profile. Only one profile. User can associate it with only one profile. But profile can be associated to the multiple users. User to profile is a one. User can have only one profile within the profile. But the profile, if you open the profile can have a multiple users. Multiple users are connected to the same profile. The direction here, user to profile is a only one profile can be connected to the user. Now that means when I go to the user level, when I go to the user level, here how many I can connect it? I can connect only one profile. Only one profile I can connect. But if I go to the profiles, how many users can I connect it? Multiple users I can connect it. If I go to the profile, if I go to the single profile here. Now here I have an option to connect multiple users. Multiple users can be connected. Right? So user will be connected to the one profile, but profile is connected to the multiple user. Now here, what is the profile that you will be selecting it? What is the profile you will be selecting it? It's based on the understanding what this particular user should have a access. Based on that, you will be selecting the profile here. But profile, if you look at here, only one profile it is displaying it. One profile it is displaying it. That means profile is depending on your license. If you change your license, if I change my license to the Salesforce, now I can see the profiles, different type of profiles which are related to license. That means each license is connected to the profile. Each profile is connected to the license. Now here, each profile is connected to the user license. Now that means if you want to select a profile, first you need to select a license. Now you select a license. Based on the license, whatever the profiles are associated with it, then Salesforce is going to show the related profiles. That means profile is tightly bound with the license. Profile is tightly bound with license. Now, if you go to the profiles here, now if you see here, each profile is associated with license. Each profile is, this is the profile name. This is profile name, and here is the license. Here is the license. Each profile is associated with license. So that's the reason whenever we select a license, related to that license, whatever the profiles are available. For example, if I say license, right? If I say Salesforce license, related to Salesforce license, these are the profiles are connected. So that's the reason when I select a Salesforce license, I could see that multiple profiles are here. It is showing me the multiple profiles. That means each user can have only one profile. Select the profile based on the user jobs function. That means you need to decide which profile should be associated with this user. Next, profile is dependent on
कल afternoon जा रहा lunch में
user license.
मैंने class
Profile is dependent on user license. Profile is dependent on user license. Without a license, you cannot select it. Without a license, you cannot select it. Now, is everybody noted down the notes? Now, let's go ahead and create one user. As per our requirement is, we should be creating this Leonel Messi So just copy this. Now first name is Leon here and Messi. And here alias is automatically captured. Automatically captured. As soon as I say tab, now let's say Messi. Now here, as soon as I type tab, it is automatically captured based on the first name and last name. So what it will take is first name, first letter, and then last name it will take. First name, first letter, and the last name it will take. And then email ID, you can give any email ID here, gmail.com. And username has to be different. Username has to be different. Now here it says email is nothing but the working email ID. The working email ID. So this working email ID, whatever this working email ID is there, has to be linked to either your Gmail account or your company email ID. Your company email ID, whichever is the working email ID is there, it has to be connected to that email ID. Then we have a username. Then we have a here username. Username is nothing but so username is, it has to be different from your email ID. It has to be different from your email ID in real time. In real time, username is always like this. It has to be always, it will be like a email ID dot whatever your username is there. Like usually they will put it as a dev. Usually they will put it as a dev. If it is a developer sandbox, they will put it as a dev. If it is a production, they will use the normal username, because in the production, we will not have anything. In the production, email ID, username, both are same. But in the sandboxes, like if it is a dev sandbox, they will put it as a dev here. If it is a staging, they will put it as a dot staging. That means if it is a QA org, they will put it as a dot QA. It's a depending on company wise, how they want it. Not the company wise, it's basically team wise. How the team is following the username, that's the same format they will put it. But most of the times they will put it as a dot dev for the development org. Now same thing I'm creating here. And in this case, now let me give the valid email ID here, Samskar it@gmail.com. Now, so that is the valid email ID I'm giving there, because I'll be receiving some credentials. Now here, this is the valid email ID. Nickname is automatically captured. Nickname is automatically captured. Now next, role. Role, I'll not say anything here. License is Salesforce, because the requirement says that we need a admin access. They want a admin access. So for the admin access, I'm giving the user license is Salesforce, and the profile is a system administrator. And the profile is system administrator. Active checkbox if you want to activate this user. And then we have a generate a new password and notify user immediately. That means as soon as I click on a save, generate a new password. Generate a new password and notify user immediately. Now, if you want to modify any of these options, you can modify it, right? So here, for example, you wanted to have a quick access menu or a Salesforce CRM. Usually in the real time for the system admin, right? If it is a system admin, the person will be getting the complete access. So don't worry about all of those. Now you can give here your address, mailing address, and the local setting, approval settings. Then I'm clicking on generate. So only the details that you need to enter is mandatory information is last name, alias, email, username, nickname. Role is not necessary that if you do not select it also, it says it is a mandatory, but it is not actually a mandatory field. It says it is mandatory here, but it is not actually mandatory. User license, define the user license, and similarly profile. Similarly, profile. Now here activated. Now if you want any other flow user service cloud, if you want, you can check all this and give information, click on save. Now it says that duplicate user because somewhere the user is the same. Somewhere the user is same. So what I'll do is I'll say here 1, 2, 3. Dev 1, 2, 3. Now this user is created. Now the user is created. The user is created here. So here the role I have not specified. Role I have not specified here. What I did, I just specified the license and profile. And the email ID which I have specified. No, the email ID, it will take some time to get the email. No, that means right now a user is created. A user is created with the license is called Salesforce and profile is system administrator. System administrator. Now, any questions on the creating? Yes, nickname is automatically taken care of it. Any question creating the? It's not the correct email ID or email ID is wrong. Now what I'll do is I'll modify this. Let's save this samskarit@gmail.com. I'll click on generate, click on a save. Now I received an email. I received an email saying that previous email address is this and new email address is this. And if you want to reset a password, this is the password, you can reset it. Okay, now I can add some password here. Right, so you can add what are the security questions are there. You can add the securities question. Now click on change password. No, thanks, continue. Now, if I say here, right now I'm logging in as Messi. Right now I log in as a Messi. Now, if you see here, it says that I logged in as a Messi. Now, Messi has complete system admin access. Messi has complete system admin access. Right. We can do all the customization. We will see those all later. So right now, the Messi is have a system admin access. He can do whatever the system admin is performing it, everything, all the apps and tabs, objects, everything we can see. Everything we can see. Now, this is how we create it. This is how we create a user in the real time. This is how we create a user in real time. Any questions on the user creation? Any questions on the user creation?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Now let me log out as this person. Now, so far we have learned how to create a single user. But sometimes what happens is client will give us some hundreds of users list. Hundreds of users list. That means they will say that just create 100 records. Just create 100 users. If you have to create 100 users list, if you have to create 100 users list, you need to go to the each user tab. Here, click on this user and click on a new user. So as soon as you click on a new user, so every time, that means you need to do almost in a day, you have to spend a time. In a day, you have to spend a time. Now, whenever you wanted to add a multiple users, whenever you wanted to add a multiple users, that time you can go for a multiple user setup. Like that means you can add a multiple users at a time for a single user. That means you can add a multiple users, but for a single user. For single user. Now here, single user license. That means you need to select a license before creating a multiple users. Create a license or a select a license. Select a license. So whenever we are creating a multiple users, add multiple users can be added for a single user license. Single user license. That means as soon as you click on a add multiple, whenever you click on a add multiple user, the first screen it will display is, it will ask for select the license here. First, select the license. Now, once I select the license, then it is going to show me the list of the names. Then it is going to show me the list of what are the different users are there. These are the different users. We can create it for the single user. These are the different users for the single user. Now, here in the users tab itself, users page itself, we have a button called add multiple users. Add multiple users. Now, whenever we click on add multiple users, the first thing it is giving me the information that you have the licenses, like identity user licenses are 110. Charter external licenses are 500. Similarly, you have a Salesforce platform user licenses are 3, right? So these are the licenses are available. Now I need to choose a license here. For example, I'm choosing the Salesforce platform license. For example, I'm choosing the Salesforce platform licenses. For Salesforce platform licenses, I can create a 3 users. I can create 3 users. Now what I'll do is I'll create a 3 users here for the Salesforce platform. Now let's say here I'll take Gautami, and here the email address is gautami@gmail.com. Gmail.com. Profile is standard platform user. Role, I'm not selecting anything. That is the one user. So here, this is one user, and this is the second user, and below we have a third user. Below we have a third user. Right? So these are the 3 users you can add it. 3 users you can add it. Now, Gautami, can you ping me the email ID? And then we have a Himaja. And Himaja, can you ping me the email ID? And the profile is standard platform. Similarly, we having Kishore Kumar. Kishore Kumar. Kishore Kumar, can you ping me the email ID? Now I'm creating the 3 users for a profile called standard platform user. Standard platform user. Now this is the Kishore email ID, and then we have a Himaja email ID. How about Gautami? Okay, so Gautami email address also, here it is. Now I'm pasting the email address. Now later cross verify that you will be receiving an email. Now I click on here, generate a password and notify user's email ID. User's email ID, click on a save. Now what happened at a time I'm creating the 3 users. Now I'll say dev here, .dev. .dev. Now click on save. Click on save. Now what happened right now? Gautami user is created here. Himaja user is created. Kishore user is created. Now we have a 3 platform users. We have a 3 platform users, and we created a, before that we created a 1 system admin. So right now I have a 2 system admin users and 3 Salesforce platform users and 1 charter free user, and 2 are a, 1 is a security user and another one is a integration user. These are the different users right now we have in the okay. That's fine. So Gautami. So what is the Gautami email ID? Let me copy this here. Click on edit. Okay, so email ID is, that is the one, and username is, this is the one. Click on and save. Yes, at a time you can create a 3. .dev. Click on OK. Click on OK. Now you have a email ID. Again, it is coming as Himaja. Okay, it will take time because you will receive an email. Once you receive an email, then it will be updated. Once you receive an email, it will be updated. But if you observe here, when we are creating the multiple user, your email and a username both should be same. Your email and username both should be same. That means this is usually in the production we created. In the production, we will have a email and a username, both are same. Because one user will not have a multiple Salesforce access. In real time, one user will not have a more than 1 Salesforce access. They will have only 1 Salesforce access with the company's email ID. So that time email and a username both are same. Now if you see here, Gautami, whatever I have created, right now it says that email and username both are same. Now Kishore Kumar. For the Kishore Kumar also it says email and username both are same. Username and email both are same. Now if I click on save here, Right now, the email will update once a person is accept. Will update once a person is accept, then it will be updated. So that is the drawback for this. That is the drawback for this. Now, when I say drawback, in the developer sandbox or in a dev sandbox, you cannot do this add multiple user. In the production, you can click on a add multiple user and create a maximum 3 users you can create it. Maximum 3 users you can create it. Now, for example, if I take, no, it's a depending on how many licenses are available. Based on that, it is going to display the how many records. For example, I have a charter external users. There are 500 records are there. 500 licenses are there. If I select charter free license, if I select charter free licenses, user licenses or charter external user licenses. Now I have a 500 user licenses are there. Now if I select a charter external and click on continue, I can add a 500 records. I can add 500 records. But if I select a different user, for example, I'm selecting here Salesforce integration. Now if I select a Salesforce integration, how many I can add it? Only one. Only one I can add it. So when I use here multiple records, it will display only one multiple records it will display. But if I take a 4,999 user licenses that is available, so if I take a charter free, so what happened? I can create a 4,999. Now here you have an option called add more users. Add more users. So by clicking on that, it will display. So basically add multiple user button. It checks the before, whenever you click on it, as soon as you select a license, whenever you select a license, first it will go and check how many user licenses are available for this particular license. If it says only one, then show me only one user to create it. If it has a 2, then show only 2 users to create it. If it has a 500, then create a 500 users. If it is a 3, then show only 3 users to create. It is depending on how many user licenses you have. Like based on that, it will display those many users list here. Is that clear? Somebody asked a question. Somebody asked a question. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, so this is already answered by Jyoti. Now, let's move on. Any other questions before I move on?
In each license, we have multiple profiles. No? It's like we created now.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, in each user license, we have different profiles, means different roles we have, profile names. For only one profile we have to create.
This add multiple user only for one license. If you have a requirement that this 100 license has to be different, 100 users has to be connected to the 100 license, then add multiple user will not work. If you have a requirement, add 100 users for a license called Salesforce license. If you have this requirement, then only go for a add multiple users. If it says that 50 users should be connected to the Salesforce license, and then rest 50 users should be connected to the Salesforce platform user, still you can go on it because you have a 50 records. But out of this, if it says that out of 50 also it says that one user charter free and one user is Salesforce platform like this, like 100 users has a different profiles, then it will not work. It will not work. So when you have a requirement for a single license, for a single profile, if you want to add a users, then you can go for a add multiple users.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We'll see that later. Right now, this is not the right time. But do you understand the license concept? Do you understand the license? Why we use a license, guys? Why do we need a license?
For restricted access.
To get an access. Now, that means to give a access to the user. But once they get a access, what should they do in Salesforce? Who will decide it? I'm giving a license. Once the license is given, what they should do as once they log into the Salesforce, what they should do?
Based on profile?
Based on
Based on
profile,
role.
Personal profile.
Role.
based on profile only, it will decide it what they should do. Now, license is just giving a access. Profile is what to do. What to do in Salesforce. Is that clear? Very high level this is. We are not going in depth. Is that clear, Sunil? Okay. Now let's move on. Now, whenever you create a Gmail account or a bank, so for example, sometimes what will happen is, or a Facebook. Best example is Facebook because you guys always use the Facebook, Instagram, all these social medias, right? So whenever we create a credentials for Facebook, that means I'm creating the user ID and password. User ID and password. That means the user is created for the Facebook. The user is created for the Facebook. Now, did you observe any time, maybe it is Instagram or the user or a LinkedIn or whoever is using the LinkedIn, right? So whenever sometimes after certain time, it will ask you, this is the time that you need to reset the password. This is the time that you need to reset the password. Some sites it will have, right? The reason for that is every org, again, it is a kind of a setup. Whether should I need to ask a reset password or it's all depending on the Facebook settings. Facebook settings. But if it is not a social media, if it is a restricted org, that means only the user should be using it, like a bank user. Bank, right? So bank is definitely, it will ask you to reset the password because that is one of the security. Social media may not ask you, but wherever it is a security purpose, we have some org. So those org will ask you to reset the password. Reset the password after certain time. After certain time, it will ask you to reset the password. What is the reason they will ask you to reset the password? Because we have a security. Every month, it will ask you to reset because the security reason. It is possible that you might have shared your password to somebody or somebody else is using your password. In that case, if you reset a password, then all the access, whoever the other person is using it with the old password, they will lose all the access. They will lose all the access. Similarly, in Salesforce also, we have a reset password per user. Reset password for user, right? Net banking, Outlook, email, these are the ones which are very secure, which are very secure. Now, wherever we see the secure URLs, they will definitely ask you to reset the password. Now, so once we are done with the reset password is basically to reset the whatever the old password is there. I wanted to reset because I somehow felt that my credentials are used by somebody else. My credentials are used by somebody else. In that case, what we can do is, in order to reset, that means either reset is nothing but two ways we'll have. Reset the password two ways. Now, one requirement is user will say that I forgot a password. I forgot a password. When I forgot a password, I don't know what is my previous password. I don't know. In that case, what client request is, client request here, can you reset my password? Client will raise a ticket. Client will raise a ticket saying that, can you reset the password? Can you reset the password? Password for user. They will give the username. Username is, let's suppose, Messi is the user. Now for this user, can you reset the password? This is one way. And the second way is for protection, security. Second is for a security or a protection. Security and protection. Now here, security and protection purpose also, they will ask you to reset the password. Whenever we click on a reset password, there is an email that will go to the user's email. So to reset a user password or unlock the user or better protection, we use a concept called reset password for user. Now how we do it? On the user setup users, there is an option called reset password button. Reset password button on user record. Now user receive, once we click on a reset password, user will receive email that contains the link and instruction to reset the password. Now when I say better protection, now first let's go here, user. In the user, for example, Messi is the one. Messi, the password needs to be reset. Now here we have an option called reset password. Here we have an option called reset password. When I click on a reset password, it says that reset password for this user is done. And it says that there is an email that's sent to this. There is an email that's sent to, this is the email ID. Now here I'll connect to the email and I should be receiving an email to reset the password. To reset the password. Now here I have a password. Now what it says that you need to reset the password. You need to reset the password. Otherwise, this link will expire within 24 hours. Within 24 hours. That means resetting the password is also have a certain timeline. Certain limit is available. Now, if you do not reset within 24 hours, if you do not reset within 24 hours, then again you need to raise a ticket to the Salesforce. Last time I did not do the reset password. Can you reset it again? Then you will receive another email. Then you will receive another email. So when you click on here link, it will ask you to reset the password. It will ask you to reset the password. Now here the password is, I'm giving the different password. Now I'm changing the password for this message. Now let me log out this. Now this is how we do the reset the password. This is how we do reset the password. Once we click on a reset password, user will receive an email. User will receive an email and they will reset it. For example, if you want to reset multiple users. Now, I do not want a single user to reset. There is a requirement which I received multiple users. Assume that everybody's password I need to reset. Everybody's password I need to reset. What is the reason that everybody's password needs to be reset? Because I received a requirement saying that we need everybody's password should be reset. We see that there is a somebody else is using the other credentials and it is happening with the multiple users. For a security purpose, can you reset everybody's email address? So I can select everybody's email and I can click on here, reset passwords. I can click on reset passwords. Once I click on a reset passwords, all the emails will go to these many. All the emails will go to these many email IDs. Whatever the users are there, for everybody, they will receive reset password email. They will receive reset password email. Now here, when you go to the particular user, now sometimes company will monitor, that how they are logging in. Company will monitor. Usually this happens whenever we join a company for a first few months till the company get confident on the employee. What they will do is they will monitor the person. That means now as soon as I joined a company, they will create a my user in the Salesforce org. They will create a my user in the Salesforce org. Once they create a Salesforce user in Salesforce org, somebody, maybe the architect or BA, somebody will monitor going into the user. Here you will see login history. Now it says that when the person has connected, also we can download the login history. Now here I can say that this person is logging in from where? Which location the person is logging in? Now let me open this. Now it will give you the clear-cut information, which all are the IP address, from where you are logging in, right? Are you logging into the same place or not? Now here, if you look at, first thing is a country. Now, is this person is logging in from the country, right? Now, one time it is logged in from the US. One time it is logged in from US, Virginia. This is the place it is logged in. Now, what is the purpose they have logged in from the United States? Now, if it is a country if they see something is a different, like you are working from India, Hyderabad. Now, suddenly you see that here city says that Vizag or different city, right? Immediately they are going to question you that why are you logging into the different place, from different place? Not only this, not only the country, city, there is something called a IP address. Every time you are logging into some IP address, suddenly we see that the user is logging into the different IP address every time. Then they are going to ask you, the company is going to ask you, why are you not logging in with your laptop? Because your laptop IP address is this is the one. Now, from last 10 days, I see that you are logging in with a different IP address. different IP address. What is the purpose of it? What is the purpose of it? Now, sometimes if they see that it is a failed logging in with a different IP address, different current country and different city, if they see these things is nothing. If they see, for example, here it says that failed, status is failed. Failed, it says that city is Vizag and IP address is something different. Immediately company is going to question you that, did you share your credentials with anybody? Did you share your credentials with anybody? So if you say no, then that means they are going to strictly monitor what for next 1 month they are going to keep on monitor. Now this is how they are going to track it. This is how they are going to track it. If they see that somebody else is monitoring it, immediately the request goes to the BA or a company saying that, can you reset a password for this user? Can you reset a password for this user? Because I see that something is happening. Can you do the reset? Now, after reset is done, then they are going to warn or tell you that we have done a reset password and we do not want to see you logging in from different places. We do not want to see you from logging into the different places. Did you get the answer? I covered this. Jyoti. Okay. Did you get this, Arvind? Security purpose, is it possible to get more than 6 months history? Tejeshwar, did you get this? Ma'am, can we know the number of hours any user is logged in? Now you will have information here. You will have information. What is the time they have logged in? What is the time they have logged in? Now log out, this is a logged in time. And similarly, you might not have a log out time, but only the login time will be available. Only the login time it will be available. And they have a latitude, longitude, postal code also. In Hyderabad, if you are logging in with a different area, like every time you are logging with a postcode here, and there is some postcode which is different, right? And here also some postcode which is different. Now they track this also. So everything will be available here. Now if you search here, login history. Go to the login history. Now here you have a login history. Here you have a login history. Go to the login history. Click on download now. Now once it is downloaded, this is specific to everybody's. Whoever is the users are there within the Salesforce. Whoever is the user is there within the Salesforce, everybody's data. Now here it will give what is the username, when he logged in, what is the IP address and login type, and what is the status, whether it is successful or not. And then they will see URL, and they will see the country, postal code, latitude, longitude, and what type of a post are they doing it, a get, post, or what is they are doing it. So these all details you will get it. Now till this point, April batch. Now suddenly I see that new user is logged in, and he has logged in at the date is same, time is a different, 8:37 a.m. and 9:37 a.m. So whenever they see that, okay, person is logged in twice, person is logged in twice. Now they will check what is the IP address. IP address is same. And then they will check where is the place, IT, the country and the postal code. What is the longitude and latitude, longitude and latitude. If these two are same, that means the same person has logged in twice. If they see something IP address is different or else postal code is different here, then they will question you that somebody else is logged in with your name. Did you share your credentials with other members? Now, these are the questions they are going to ask you in the company. So whenever you join a company, at least for 6 months, do not share your credentials to anybody in the company. In the company, outside of company, don't share your credentials, the company credentials, company Salesforce, or do not share it. Company credentials do not share with anything. Do not share with anything. Now, whenever we are selecting the password, whenever we are resetting the password, it will ask you certain things. It will ask you certain things that you need to enter the 8 characters, and you have to enter 1 alphabet and 1 special character. These all combination it will give. And also, usually for net banking or a banking or a Outlook or a Salesforce, exactly on the 90th day, it will warn you that you need to reset a password. That means you have created a credentials and it is crossed the 90 days. It is crossed 90 days or a 30 days or a 60 days. Immediately it is going to prompt you saying that you need to reset. This is the time for reset. Now, how these all are happening? Somebody is sitting in the system and clicking on the reset button. No, we have something called password policies. These password policies are nothing but there are certain criteria, certain conditions are available. The first one is a user password expiry in. The first one is the length of time. That means how long this password should be holding it. The length of the time until a user password expires. And when should I alert a user? They must change it. What is the deadline for it? Whether it is a 90 days, 60 days, 30 days. By default, it is a 90 days by the Salesforce. By default, it is a 90 days for the Salesforce. And similarly, we have one more option in the password policy, enforce the password history. Now, sometimes what happens is when you type a incorrect password, you have a three times you can try it. After the third time, your password will be blocked. That means when you forgot a password, you can try for a 3 times, maximum 3 times, not more than 3 times. How it is happening that there is a configuration setup in the password policy, enforce password history. What it happens here is we can, whenever the user is trying to enter the previous password, whenever user is trying to recollect the password and they forgot the completely, but they are trying to recollect it. That means when you try to recollect it, system says that maximum 3 times you recollect it. Third time, if you do not recollect it, I'm going to block. Is decided by the enforce password history. And the next one is minimum password length. What is the password length? 8 characters or 10 characters, 3 characters. right? What are the characters that you needed? Minimum number of characters for the password is 8. What is the minimum password? That is, this is one default option is 8, but you can change this. Now, next one is password complexity requirement. That means it must have a alphabet, it must have a numeric, it must have a special character. This kind of a configuration is done in the password complexity requirement. Password complexity requirement. Password complexity requirement is what type of a password that user should be entering it. Like a 8 alphabet or a 5 alphabet, 1 special character, 3 numbers. What is the complexity that you are implementing in order to build the password? That is decided by the password complexity requirement. Next one is a password question requirement. Password question requirement. Now this is, we have a different options. I'll show that one of the option is cannot contain the password. So this is a question requirement. Whenever you are answering the question, whenever you reset a password or you set a password, there is a question that is going to ask you, what is your nickname? What is your first job? What is your pet's name, right? Now that name should not be same as a password. That name should not be same as a password. Now next one is maximum invalid login attempts. Maximum invalid login attempts. Like how many times you wanted to try login attempts? 10 times or a 5 times. You can keep it that. Logged effective period. In case if the credentials are locked, you tried it for a 3 times. After the 3rd time, you remember the correct password. That means 3rd time it is going to lock your system, lock your credentials, lock your credentials. That means you will receive an email saying that your credentials are locked. Your credentials are locked. Now, how long do you want to wait for the locked time? So maximum 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, user can go ahead and try their own password. So that kind of a setup also we can have it. This is the password policies. Now these password policies, where can we set up? Where can we set up? Now here we have a navigation steps to check the password policy for the organization. Navigation steps are setup, security, password policies. Password policies. When you select a password policies, you have a different kind of a setup here. You have a different kind of a setup. Right? You have a different kind of a setup. Let's go ahead and see that. Now here we have a password policy. Search here password policies. Type the password policies. Now here password policies are user password expires in. By default it is 90 days. Now if you want to keep it as a 30 days, you can keep the 30 days. 60 days, you can keep the 60 days. 180 days, you can keep it. 1 year also you can keep it. You can say that never expire. Never expire. Similar to the Facebook, they will say never expire. Never expire. Whatever the initially you kept the password, it will be the same for a lifelong. Enforce the password history. Do you want to enforce the password history for 1 password remember? Or a 2 password remembers, 3 password reminders? What is the remember time that you wanted to have it? That means reset a password, how many times you wanted to keep it. Minimum password length, 8 or a 7, whatever the length that you are thinking it, just keep it. Password complexity requirement. Password complexity requirement, if you want to keep it as a must include alpha and numeric character. Must include alpha, numeric and special character. Must include number and uppercase and lowercase letter. Must include number, uppercase, lowercase, special character. And the last one is must include 3 of the following: number, uppercase, lower letters, special characters, everything should be included. It's up to you how you wanted to set it up. If you do not want any restriction, you can simply say that no restriction. And then we have a password questions requirement. Password question requirement. If you want a password question, right? Whatever the question is there, do you want to have a, if you, whenever you are resetting a password, you do not want to contain any questions or something, then you can say cannot contain a password, cannot contain password. And maximum invalid login. Now you can try here how many times you can say, 5 times, 3 times, 10 times, no limit. And logged effect, you can keep it to minimum 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, right? So then we have a allow use of a set API passwords. Now, in case if you have a API reset passwords, right? Whenever we are doing a integration stuff, whenever we are doing a integration, that time it will say here, this is the option allow use of a set password API per self reset. Now, for example, you want to reset a password for every day. You wanted to reset a password for every day. Then in that case, require a minimum 1 day password lifetime. Whatever you reset a password, only it will work for today. Tomorrow, you need to reset it again. You need to reset it again. In that case, every day if you want to reset your password, this is the one, require a minimum 1 day password. Now this is the security answers. This is the security answers. Whenever you reset a password, do you want to have a security answers? If you do not want to have a security answers, do not check this. And this is a forgot message. Whenever you forgot password, whenever you forgot a password, that time you will receive an email, right? Saying that you forgot a password. During that time, do you want to receive any message saying that your password, you forgot a password, you forgot password, and hint for password is your name, your name. So like this, you can see your messages. In case your password is similar to your name, then you can say this. So what will happen when you receive an email? Along with the email, you will receive your forgot password and hit password. And the password name is here, password. You forgot your password and your previous password. And the hint for your previous password. Hint for your previous password is your name. Now, this kind of messages you can keep it so that whenever you receive an email, along with the email, you will receive this message. We will see that. And next one, the last one is a API. That is for the integration. We will see that part integration later. So these are the different setups which we have. These are the different setups we have. Lockout effective period is basically if it is locked. Sometimes what will happen is few companies, what they will do is whenever it is locked, you just wait for a 15 minutes. It's similar like your laptop. Whenever your laptop is locked, that you have forgot a password for your laptop. You forgot a password for laptop. Wait for 1 day and try it. It will work. That is the configuration setup. Similarly, when it is logged out, so if you do not, there is a no person who can reset the password, wait for 15 minutes. If there are no person, nobody has logged in and nobody is there to reset the password. In that case, wait for 15 minutes and then you can try it after the 15 minutes.
That's clear, ma'am.
Right. Okay. So do all users created in the same org have access to the login history to the other users? I cannot say every user. Can one user edit another user profile? System admin can edit another user profile. Whoever is the user that have a system admin access, whoever is the user that have a admin access, that person can reset the other person. It's a org wide. It is org wide. So password policy does not say to the specific to the user. Did it say anywhere here user? Nowhere it says user. Nowhere it says user. It's saying that password restriction login lockout policies for all users. For all users. It doesn't say for a single user. That means this is for the all the users. This is for the all the users. Now we have another option here, expire all password. No, in case if you want to expire everybody's password, that means whoever is the all users are there in this, or simply expire it. Don't do this thing in the production. Don't do this step in the production. It is a very danger. It seems like very simple, but it is a very dangerous step. Now by clicking on this and by clicking on save, what I'm doing is I'll expire everybody's password. I'll expire everybody's password. That means client password also. If the client internal team who are accessing this, everybody's user password will be expired. So next time when they log in, they will not be able to log in. They need to reset the password. They need to set the password. So don't do this expire all password in the production unless you have a confirmation from the client. Unless you have a confirmation from the client. Now this is a password policies. Is everybody clear about the password policies? Yes.
Yes, sir.
You will receive an email. So that's what we are saying here, enforce the password history. So after 90 days, they will receive an email saying that you need to reset the password. Now, similar to the password policy, there is a kind of a login access policy. Login access policy. Now, login access policy, I'll cover this later. That means login access policy is if admin wants to log in as a somebody else, then we will go for a login access policy that I'll cover later. Now, we are done with the requirement. We have implemented this requirement. User is implemented with this user and this is the access and we have done this, right? Once I'm done, I'm going to add a comments. I'm going to add a comments saying that created user Leonel Messi in Salesforce org. I'll comment this. And usually whenever we comment it, we will copy somebody. We will copy the person. Let's say right now I do not have anybody here. I'm going to copy myself. So in the real time, what we will do is we will copy here a business analyst or a project manager or a team lead as well as the QA members. I'm going to put a CC here. Put a message what you have done and add a CC here. Click on a save. So that what is that is going to happen now? This person is going to get an alert message saying that this person has added some comment to this ticket and they have updated. Now, if I say here QA, now that means I'm moving to the QA. I'm moving to the ticket to the QA. Now QA is going to test this. And if it is a test is passed, that means if it is a working perfectly fine, then they will move it to the done. If it is some issue, then they will raise a bug to the developers. Now this is how we do it in the real time. Once we are done with implementing a story, Now here we are doing in the education. So go to the Confluence. In the Confluence, create a space. Now in the real time, you need not to create any space here. You need not to create any space. This space is created by the project manager. Here, nobody is there. So that's the reason I'm creating here. Let's say education. Click on a create a space. Click on create a space. Once you create a space, you will see this kind of it. This is a project, right? And this is the overview. And here within the page, you need to click on a plus button. Within the page, you need to click on a plus button. Now you need to add a steps here. User creation. That means you need to create a documentation. User creation. For user creating, what are the steps that we need to do? Now here I'll say that in order to create a user, follow the below step. Follow the below steps. Set up and then search for a users. Search for users and click on users. Once it is clicked on users, it will take you to the users page. It will take to the users page. Users page. Now, once it is done, now what do I need to do here? Once it is done, click on new user. Click on new user. And then once you click on a new user, add last name, add the mandatory fields. Mandatory fields. What are the mandatory fields? Last name, email, username, alias, nickname is automatically captured. Alias, username is automatically captured. Username and role is not mandatory. User license, and then profile. And then profile. These are the mandatory fields. Now here I'll say add mandatory, add data in mandatory fields. Now once it is done, click on a save button. Click on save button. So this is how I'll be creating the documentation. Once I create a documentation, click on a publish. Click on publish. As soon as you click on a publish, there is a documentation is created here. There is a documentation is created. Now sometime few members what they do is they will do it is a more beautification. Now if you want to edit here, now here the first one is a navigation steps. Navigation steps. For the navigation steps, this is the navigation step. And click on a user, this is also. And this is new user. New user. For new user, click on this. And next we have a mandatory fields. Mandatory fields. For this mandatory fields, add the value, add the data to the these all, and click on it, save. Now this is a save button. This is save. Now that means here I have a headlines. This is a heading 3. And new user is also heading 3. And mandatory fields also heading 3. And then save is a heading 3. Right? So then we have it. This is the description. This is the description. Now, what we can do here is to make it a beautification. We have a something called table of contents. Table of contents. Let me delete this. Click on this plus button and go for a table of contents. Table of contents and click on a publish. Click on publish. Now, if you click on this navigation step, it will go to the navigation step. If you click on a new user, it will go to the new user. If you click on a mandatory fields, it will go to the mandatory fields. If you click on a save, it will go to the user. So these kind of a steps. That means if I go to this page, this page, on top, it should give me the clear-cut information in this documentation. What are the content that is there? What is the content that is available? For that, we will implement this kind of a table in the real time. In the real time, we will implement this kind of a table so that instead of the user is going to the every and individual. Now, this document is a small, but in the real time, documentations are very long. Documentations are very long. So that time, if, for example, user just interested to know the mandatory fields. Now, instead of going to the entire documentation, just they click on here, mandatory fields. It will directly take them to the mandatory fields. Now, this is how the Confluence page, the documentation is created in the Confluence page. This is how we create a documentation in the Confluence page. Any questions related to the Confluence? Now, whatever you are learning, you can do the documentation here. You can do your homework. Whatever the homeworks are there, all the homeworks, you can do the documentation here. Once documentation is done, what you can do is you can download the PDF or export it as a PDF. So click on these three buttons, click on the export button. When you export it, it will come as a PDF format. It will come as a PDF format. Now, once the PDF format is there, then you can send that PDF format to the samskarit@gmail.com. samskarit@gmail.com. Now, when you open this PDF, now you can see here all the information. Now, similar to the whatever we have seen in the Confluence page, everything it can take you to that particular page. Now, this is what you can do it. This is what you can do it. So this is the Confluence. Use the Confluence for homework. Creating a homework, use this Confluence page. Document it here very properly with the screenshots and then export it as a PDF and then send it. Now here put it as create the space as a Salesforce training. Swapna ID, put it as a Swapna ID. Create it here space as a Swapna ID. Select here blank, click on this next and select here Swapna ID. Swapna ID and then click on a create a space. Once you are done, this is the page it will be displayed. And there you need to click on the plus button in the page. Here, click on the plus button in the page. So once you click on the plus button in the page, then it will take you to the creating the new one. Creating the new page. Any questions on the Confluence, documentation, Jira? Okay. As soon as you are done, please download it because this is a free version. This is a free version. Anytime it might expire. Anytime it might expire. Anytime it might expire. So whenever you are done with the documentation, download it, export it. Export it as a Word or export it as a PDF. Even if you want to take notes in the class, instead of taking into the WordPad, take it here in the Confluence page and export it as a PDF. Export it as PDF. every day, day-to-day class, export it. Otherwise, suddenly you see that there is a pre-version is expired. So you need to create another one. So instead of doing the documentation in the WordPad, few members are doing the documentation in the WordPad, right? Instead of doing the WordPad, what you can do is you can use the Confluence page and you can document it here, which will be the proper steps. Now, any questions? Nowadays, this is 3 years back, or if I say that before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, that was the situation, only BA used to do the documentation. Now the situation has came where the developer has to do the also documentation. Along with BA, developer also has to do the documentation, because whatever the implementation developers are doing it, related to that coding part, they need to implement a document. They need to write a document. Right? Okay. So right now, everybody is doing the documentation. It's not a specific to the BA. It was BA. It was the long way back, 5 years back, 6 years back. Only the documentation BA project manager used to do. But right now, the situation it came where the developer also has to do certain documentation. Not all the documentation, but certain documentation they has to do. Do we add a users in production? Yes, we add a users in production. If client side, if we have an internal team, client has an admin team. In that admin team, if they know that how to create a user, usually client will take care of it. In case if the client does not know how to create a user, then we might have to help client for the first time. And next time onwards, we should say then, please refer the documentation. I have created a documentation how to create a user. Refer this documentation, you should be able to do it. But for the first time, we should help the client if they are not aware of it. Clear, Charan, Vasavi? Okay. Freeze a user, we will see tomorrow. Freeze a user and delete a user, we will see tomorrow. Now, questions. What is a user in Salesforce?
Who need access to the record, Salesforce?
Anyone who logs into the Salesforce is called as a user. How to freeze a user? It's not there. How to update a password policies?
Those settings. Security, password policy.
How to update a password policies? Search for the
Security.
password policies. Search for a password policies, not the security underscore. How to update a password policy? Search for password policies. Yes, it is within the security. So if you say here like this security underscore password policy, I might think that you are searching for a security password policies. Search for a password policies, or within the security, we have a password policies. Right. And the next one, how many profiles can we link to the user?
One
One.
profile.
Multiple.
Why Shilpa? Why multiple?
Sorry, it's one.
How many profiles can we link? One profile we can link to the users. Now, can I select a profile without selecting a license?
No.
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 Right. Now, what is a profile here?
What a user can do.
What the user can do. Yes. Okay. Any other answers?
Profile is a set of permission sets which which give you access to the user.
Perfect. So basically, profile is which determines what user can do in Salesforce, but as well as profile is a set of permissions which grant the access to the particular object, fields, and tab. What is a role?
What the user can see.
What user can see. Any other answers? Hierarchy, yeah. What is role?
It's a role and responsibility within an organization.
Right. Based on the where they are allocated in the role hierarchy, that's right. Skills of the users, right? User from top can see all the data, right? The role determines what user can see in Salesforce based on whether they are allocated in the role hierarchy, right? Based on the role, we can give the access, visibility, authorization. It's not about authorization. We are not giving a authorization here. When you say authorization, what is exactly meaning of it? Access level. Okay. So role determines what user can see in Salesforce based on where they are allocated in the role hierarchy. For that example, users in the top of the hierarchy can see all the data owned by other users. Whoever is at the low level, they cannot see the higher level people data. Now homework, take a homework. Subject, add a new user in Salesforce. Description, add a following users in Salesforce and provide admin access to the user. Provide admin access to the user. Now username, first name is Melissa, last name is David, user email md@gmail.com. Access is the admin access, this is the mobile number. That is the mobile number. This is the homework one. Add new user in Salesforce. Description, add a following user in Salesforce and provide a admin access to the users. User first name is Melissa, last name is David, user email is md@gmail.com. Access is admin access, user mobile is this is the one. Now next one is a homework 2. Is everybody noted down this? Okay. Now homework 2, subject, add 10 new users in Salesforce. You have to add 10 users, 10 new users in Salesforce. Description, add 10 users in Salesforce for charter-free licenses. For charter-free license, you need to add charter-free license. Username is Ranjit Singh, Amit Shah. I'm just giving a username, email ID, and username. It is up to you. Whatever you wanted to give there. I'm just giving the name of the user. I'm just giving the name of the user. Ranjit Singh, Amit Singh, Piyush Goyla, and then Giriraj Singh. You might be hearing these names in the politics. Giriraj Singh, Prahlad Joshi, Anurag Singh, Kumar Shah, Ashwini Goyla, Jyoti Singh, and then Hardeep Joshi. These are the names which I am providing you.
And Swapna, before homework, we can't add new users also. Why? Because we already added one user in our Salesforce app.
Sorry.
Can you in the first homework, you are saying like Salesforce license. Already we added one user, so that's why its license is completed for our develop.
How many licenses are
Maximum is
for
2.
the charter free?
So charter fees are okay, but the before homework
What
you
is
given,
this
right?
homework? Is it for charter free or is it for a Salesforce? No,
Is it
before
for
homework you can
Salesforce?
create it. Why you cannot create it? Did you create
It's
any other Salesforce here?
yes, before yesterday homework is the Salesforce admin, right? I see.
You have created? Okay.
Yes,
Do one thing. Deactivate that user and create this one.
sure.
Vishnu, Srinivas, I think you guys are good in politics. Okay. So is everybody noted down? Is everybody noted down? Yes, okay. Next one is a homework 3. Subject is a freeze existing. No, this is not there. This is also not there. Those are the 2 homeworks, and then we have a trial head. Is everybody doing the trial head? At least one. Okay. So what are the yesterday's trial head is there? Just continue that.